Right, so if you ever bought anything off an auction, an auto, like an insurance auto auction, IAA, you know, sometimes once in a while they'll throw cars out there for like a timed auction, which means like you have like 10 hours that day to bid, and there's like a certain amount you can bid, and then there's a reserve, this and that. Well, I've never bought anything that way until now. So last Saturday, a car popped up that I really liked the color and everything, and it popped up for a timed auction, and I was like, well, it's Saturday.
Watch out, vehicle on shoulder ahead.
It's Saturday, and I'm just gonna throw a bid out there. I didn't even pay attention to the description or anything. I saw that it smashed in the front. I'm like, whatever. So I threw like a low amount that I thought I would never buy the car. Turns out I'm heading to Knoxville, Tennessee now to pick this thing up because I was the highest bidder. It actually went way below my bid, and reserve was met, which is crazy. So a lot of times those timed auctions, I guess you could get lucky, especially on the weekend when nobody's paying attention. I mean, the auction ended at like 9 p.m. Probably nobody was even paying attention. So long story short, let's go check this thing out. I've got a check in hand, and I hope it runs. By the way, I was excited that I bought that car, but then I started looking at the description and all that, and primary damage says front end, which is obvious in the pictures, and you'll see once we get the car. But the secondary damage is engine, which I'm like, it's not wrecked that bad in the front. Like, why would it say engine damage? And it also doesn't run or drive. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna say the amount I bought it for until I look at it. Maybe I just won't even make this video at all, because I mean, if the engine is bad, I don't think I want to fix the car. Maybe it'll be like a parts car or something. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll find out here in a minute. Also, my wife kind of told me to stop buying cars until I finish up all the projects that I have, which is like 10 of them at the same time. So technically, I didn't buy a car. My wife did. We'll just say that this is my wife's car because I can't buy anymore. That's just it. I'm kind of excited that this car is in Knoxville because ever since Helene, I-40's been closed, and they finally opened it up about a month ago, maybe a little bit more, and I have not went this way yet. I think it's just a one lane each way, each direction, and I've heard that the traffic's moving pretty good, but we're about to find out. This is mile marker 29. I think it gets a little narrow around after exit or after mile marker 15, right before Tennessee. So I'm excited to see what the progress is like over here. I mean, I know it was really, really bad. Well, mile marker 17 is where it switches to a one lane, or one lane each way, I guess. So let's see how it goes. Hopefully there's not too much traffic. Hopefully this is moving pretty good, because I don't want to be stuck over here. I gotta grab this car before 4:30. So after exit 15, it goes back into a 4-lane again. So the amount of work that's been done here in the last 8 months is crazy. Look at all these workers. They're just parking over here on the side and working probably 24/7 just to get this road back to normal. And it's been 8 months. But we're lucky to have one lane each way after what's happened. fun fact, I'm pretty sure I bought the last convertible 2015 Mustang here at the same location in Knoxville, Tennessee. But here we are, let's get this thing loaded and head back. Well, there she is, 2022 Ford Mustang convertible with a 2.3 Ecoboost, but it's all right. Took a little hit in the front. Nothing crazy. It says engine damage, but we're gonna find out if it is. I don't see any frame damage. Maybe, well, I see why it doesn't want to start. Bunch of wiring ripped right there. Easy fix. The frame rails are straight. We're good. So I just did a quick walk around at the auction. Didn't record much because some of these sites don't really want you or like when people record, so, and I respect that. And but from what I could see, without, you know, obviously taking anything apart, I don't see any crazy damage. I did see that little wiring issue, but you know, maybe that's possibly why it's not starting. But I don't see why it would have engine damage, honestly, from that wreck. I mean, anything's possible, but without taking it apart, you really don't know. But so far I don't see anything that I didn't see in pictures, so the pictures were pretty accurate on this one. They do a pretty good job sometimes of taking the pictures. So once we get to the house, we'll look into it a little bit more, see if we can get it running.
2,000 years later.
All right, so about 6 months ago or so, probably back in May or so, I bought this car for my wife so she could daily drive it in the summertime. It is a drop top 2022 Mustang with the 2.3 Ecoboost engine. This thing's got 60,000 miles on it, I believe. It does not run or drive, and I was supposed to get this thing fixed for the summer, like I said, but never got around to it because I got 24 other projects going on, and also got to work to make money to pay the bills, because doing stuff like this does not pay the bills, unfortunately. Maybe one day it will, so be sure to hit like and subscribe, so I could just work on fun stuff like this and not have to do a daily job one day. But that being said, I do have a complete front end here that I picked up many months ago. Also, it is from a 5.0, which is fine, but it was a complete front end, and it was cheaper to buy a front clip, believe it or not, than buying all the pieces separately, like bumper, headlights, hood, fenders. And this one actually even came with a complete dash, which on these cars, when the dash airbag blows, you got to replace the complete dash. So I have the complete dash here, and also a windshield. That is, if I can get this thing cut out and without breaking it and installing it. And it looks like it's already tinted. But ever since I picked this car up, I never actually looked into it, and it is missing a battery. I'm not sure if I maybe took the battery out and tried to charge it, but I know it was either bad or I used it somewhere else, because that battery is actually the same on the Ford Focus. And as many of you know, I work on Ford Focuses all the time. But did I need to buy a whole front end for this car to rebuild it? No, I did not, because as you can see, I mean, the reinforcement got a little bit tweaked, but the main frame rails are actually straight. The only part that's actually bent is this part up here, the upper apron, I believe. And even then, where the actual strut tower is, everything is in its place. Of course, I'm going to double check dimensions with the other complete front end and make sure nothing actually moved, which just by looking at it, you can see that it only bent right here. And I can either straighten this out, and but I think the best thing to do would just be to replace it, since I already have that piece. Either way, if I fix this, I'm gonna have to paint this section anyways, so might as well just put the new one in or used one in, and then it'll look much better, because all of this stuff is exposed with the hood open. As far as why it's not running and driving, one thing I did notice back then was when these cars wreck in the front with the 3.0 or 2.3 Ecoboost, the intake manifold, the way it sits, it points forward with the throttle body. So when the radiators move and the support moves, it goes right into the throttle body and breaks the intake. But that should not stop it from running, right? So I started looking further, and over here, what I found was a bunch of sliced wires, and these wires are very important wires because they go from the fuse box and to the PCM and all of that. So that being said, that's why we're not getting power. I believe we are getting power as far as like lighting up the dash and stuff like that, which we'll check in a little bit. But as far as cranking the engine, that's a no-go. But all of this, once all of this is out, I'll be able to get to that harness pretty easy, and I'll be able to repair it. And of course, if not, I will have to change the whole engine bay harness, which I really want to avoid. But it doesn't look like many wires got cut, so this should be an easy fix. Oh, by the way, the horn fluid looks good still, so we should be good there. Might change it later though. But let's take a look at the interior and see what we're working with here. So I can see that this seat belt, driver seat belt, is blown, knee airbag is blown, driver airbag is blown, dash airbag is blown, and that seat belt is blown. With all these airbags and seat belts being blown, I'm gonna go ahead and say that the SRS, or the airbag module, is most likely bad. When I say bad, it has a crash code that needs to be reset, so which is not a big deal. I can send that out or just buy a used one or a new one. Either way, I always try to go the cheapest option, but also the quickest. And of course, somebody broke the shifter at the auction, or while it was getting shipped to the auction, or one of those, because someone couldn't put it in neutral because of the wires being damaged, I believe. So what they did was they broke the safety switch, and now I gotta replace the shifter, which is fine because the whole console's gotta come out, and it's actually damaged right here, so I may just get a whole new one. I don't see how that got damaged though. That just doesn't make sense. But it is the premium option, so it's loaded with heated cooled seats and a bedazzled key. I'm just kidding, this is not original, but you can tell a girl was driving this. There's a little heart right there. So this will be a fun little daily for my wife, but unfortunately it's like November, and you know, I'll get it fixed, but she won't drop the top until gets warm again. It's about to get dark, so I made some room in my garage at home, and I'm going to go ahead and attempt to do all of this at home. I'm even going to try to get this thing squared away, either pulled out or replaced here, and if not, of course, I'll take it to my guy at the frame shop. So that being said, let's get this thing in the garage and start taking it apart. That's actually my favorite part, because when you start removing this, all of it is trash mostly, but it's just fun disassembling something that's not going to be reused, most likely. Alright, so this is what we got so far. We got the radiator, condenser, and the intercooler out. I guess this is the performance package 2, and it has transmission cooling going through the radiator, so even when I get to a point where I can start this thing, I won't be able to, because there's 2 lines for the transmission that are open. What I'm going to try to do is loop them, and then that way everything's still exposed for either me or the frame guy because look at all this access we have when everything's out. There's plenty of room to work with. And finally we got wiring exposed as well, which doesn't look too bad, but eventually I'm gonna go ahead and open all this up and go through every wire, see if I can splice them and put them back to OEM spec. There's a bunch of wires that are completely cut in half, but not horrible. I've seen worse. I've seen them chopped all the way in half. Now, replacing this harness would probably require pulling the engine, and I'm going to try to avoid that with everything possible. The PCM looks fine. The bracket did break, but I think the other front clip that I have has the bracket. Not sure if it has the fuse box, but I think it has the PCM bracket. I'm not sure. I'll double check that. But as far as the frame rails and the subframe, everything is 100% in place, which is nice. The only thing is, this apron will have to be drilled out up to here to the strut tower and replaced, I think, all the way to here, which is not bad. So at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and lift the car up, put out some jack stands, and remove the wheels, and go from there. I want to get those fenders off. Also, the cool thing is this car was completely stock, 100% stock. Nobody's tuned it, nobody's replaced anything. So that means that we'll make it go fast right after we get it running.